amazing friends. I am excited to do art with you today because we are going to use some non-traditional materials. Have you ever made art with a stick? We're going to use that as our drawing tool today instead of using a marker or a pencil. And we're going to try using something that feels a little bit unnatural to actually create our art. So I also have a piece of paper for my creation as well as some black ink, but if you don't have black ink, you can do the exact same thing with a little bit of watered down black paint. You could also use some watercolors if you wanted to make kind of a little tub of liquid watercolors that are pretty wet, but your material does need to be a little bit more wet. Although you can even use regular paint as long as it's pretty easy for you to dip and then draw on the surface. So we're going to create some sort of design inspired by using these non-traditional materials. So it's a great way for us to think a little bit outside the box. Now, of course, today we are going to start with our mantra, so we are super strong and ready to create. Here we go. My mantra: I am positive, I am creative, I am mindful, I am amazing, I am an artist. Okay, gather your materials, go get a stick from outside or find something that you can use that's pretty similar to that, even a popsicle stick or a straw or maybe the back of a fork, anything that feels a little bit different than a typical drawing tool. After you've collected your sticks and twigs and things you're going to be using to draw with, then you can gather your other materials like your paper or ink or watered down paint or whatever you're going to use to make your marks. Now, I'm going to keep my composition or the way that I create my art pretty abstract, meaning that it's not going to look like a specific thing. I'll mostly be focusing with shapes, patterns, designs, things to fill my paper because that's what I really love to do when I make my own art. But you could totally try this same kind of art making process by creating something like a house or a picture of food or your name. It really doesn't matter what you make, but I want you to practice using this non-traditional material to create your work. So we're first just going to do a little bit of practice. Now I'm going to do a little dip and see what happens when I pull along the surface. So the kind of cool thing about using a branch or something else is that you have to learn how to work with a new material. So I'm going to fill this in. Oh, this is kind of fun how it starts to get that little dry brush effect where it starts to fade with my ink disappearing slightly. And it really helps me think a little bit outside the box. Oh, this is a crinkly one. That's why it keeps falling off in pieces, but I can even use those pieces too. So I'm gonna just keep going and use some of the bigger sticks, some of the smaller sticks that I have, maybe start practicing with some different kinds of scratching techniques to really fill my paper and use these non-traditional materials in an awesome way. My stick drawing is kind of a mess of different mark making experiments, but that's okay because I really love practicing with some different tools and seeing what happens. So if yours ends up being kind of an abstract collage or some sort of combination of different shapes and patterns, totally cool. If yours ends up being something more specific because you're trying to use your tool to actually draw something realistic, that's awesome too. I'm gonna go back in with oil pastels and just make a little bit more coloring details, try to make some other areas pop, but you could stop here or you could continue with some different materials. But I think that might add a little bit more color and contrast to my project to go back in with a different kind of tool. All right, that's it, friends. Fuzz, thoughts? As always, doesn't care. Did I just have to wash off Andy ink from his paw? Guess you'll never know. So when you finish your abstract art, you can totally use it to collage and make something else from your project, or maybe you just leave it like the way it is. Mine became kind of an explosion of creativity and practice with different kinds of materials. So I really loved just playing a little bit and practicing what I wanted to make without really having to think too hard about it. Now, of course, we are going to end with a little meditation at the end today so that we can be strong and ready for the rest of our day. So let's do just 2 deep breaths in with your very best posture and really try to take those nice, strong, deep breaths right from your belly. Here we go. Good, that's it. It's a great way for you to calm yourself and be ready to make it an awesome day. Now, my friends, remember, you are amazing, you are strong, you are resilient, and I love you. I hope you had fun, and we'll see you next time.